Right now, there could be a poisonous plant sitting in your yard or living room, one that can send a child or pet to the ER with just a few bites. And the wildest part? Garden centers are still selling them by the truckload. In this video, you'll uncover the most dangerous plants hiding in plain sight around your home, and the safe, look-alike alternatives you should be growing instead. Let's start with one you've probably driven past 100 times without realizing how damaging it really is. The neighborhood poison hedge. Oleander. Number one looks like the perfect hedge, but a single leaf can be enough to put a child or pet in an ambulance. Along hot highways, when everything else is scorched, oleander is still blooming, pink and white flowers, glossy leaves, not a wilted petal in sight. It earned its place because it's nearly impossible to eliminate. Heat, salt spray, pollution, neglect. Oleander shrugs it all off. But that indestructible reputation hides a brutal secret. Hidden in those leaves and blossoms are cardiac glycosides, chemicals that can make a heartbeat stumble, stall, and stop. So, what actually happens if something takes a bite? A few chewed leaves can cause vomiting, irregular heartbeat, and collapse. Even smoke from burning branches can be dangerous. Think that sounds extreme? There are cases of livestock collapsing after eating tossed clippings. And here's the really chilling part. To most shoppers, it's just another pretty shrub in a black plastic pot. If you want flowers without that kind of risk, plant hibiscus or viburnum instead. Because if a roadside shrub can do this much damage, imagine what the innocent little bells in your shade garden might be hiding. The fairy tale bell that stops hearts. Lily of the valley. Number two looks like something from a fairy tale, but a small handful can send a healthy person straight from the garden to the emergency room. Under old trees and shady porches, you'll find glossy leaves and tiny white bells perfuming the air. It looks gentle, almost holy. But this holy ground cover has a very unholy secret. Lily of the valley spreads by underground roots into a dense emerald mat. In late spring, porcelain bells hang from slender stems, so fragrant a single handful can fill a room. Brides carry it, children pick it for May Day baskets. Here's what almost no one tells those children. Every part of this plant carries a powerful heart-affecting compound. Leaves, stems, flowers, even the bright red berries are dangerous. Swallow just a few, and the body starts to panic. Nausea, vomiting, dizziness, and a stumbling, irregular heartbeat. Pets are just as vulnerable. Even vase water is not something you want anyone drinking by mistake. And that's the trap. It looks like innocence. That's exactly what makes it so dangerous. For shade fragrance, sweet woodruff or violets are much gentler choices. Because if this holy ground cover can do all that, wait until you see the cottage garden favorite that hides prescription-strength chemistry in every single leaf. The cottage garden slayer. Foxglove number 3 is the poster child of cottage gardens, and one big reason the word digitalis appears on so many prescription bottles. In every dreamy garden photo, foxglove stands at the back, tall spires of pink, purple, or white bells. Bees drifting in and out. It looks like pure romance. Foxglove spends its first year as a rosette that could pass for oversized salad greens. In year 2, it sends up towering stalks, each bell freckled inside, each perfectly shaped for a child to slip over a fingertip and play pretend. And that innocent little game, that's exactly where the danger begins. Hidden inside those leaves and flowers are chemicals closely related to digitalis. In careful doses, doctors use them to steady failing hearts. But your backyard is not a pharmacy. A few leaves brewed as tea, petals nibbled in a game, or a misidentified plant, and suddenly a heart that beats too slowly, then too fast, then not at all. You'll still find foxglove seeds in charming cottage mix packets. The danger is literally hanging on a hook at the garden center. Hollyhocks and snapdragons can give the same vertical drama with far less risk. And if the romance of foxglove hides this kind of power, the next plant doesn't bother to hide at all. It turns a simple flower bed into a tropical-looking minefield. The ricin bean in the flower bed. Castor bean. Number 4 is sold as the perfect instant jungle plant, but its seeds carry one of the most infamous poisons on Earth. When most annuals are tired and drooping, the castor bean looks like it just arrived from the tropics. Huge star-shaped leaves, red stems, spiky seed pods that glow against the sky. It's stunning, and that's exactly why it slips past people's defenses. It grows fast, often taller than a person in one season. You tuck in a small plant, and by midsummer, you've got towering foliage screening the fence. But while you admire the leaves, kids notice the seeds, glossy, patterned, like tiny painted stones. They look like jewelry. Inside those jewels is a nightmare. The seeds contain ricin, a toxin that shuts down the body's ability to make proteins. Swallow one whole, and it may pass through. Chew it, and the poison is released. A small handful can cause severe vomiting, abdominal pain, and, if untreated, organ failure. Pets and livestock are just as vulnerable. Castor oil comes from these same seeds, but only after careful processing. In a backyard, there is no safety lab, only curiosity and chance. Canis or hardy hibiscus give bold leaves without lethal seeds. If this is already making you look at your plants differently, hit like so. This reaches more people before they learn the hard way. The pet slayer palm. That isn't sago palm. Number 5 is the mini palm emergency vets recognize instantly because one curious bite can destroy a dog's liver. It looks so clean and harmless that nobody thinks twice until it's too late. The sago palm isn't a true palm, but an ancient cycad sold everywhere as a slow-growing accent. Nurseries line their entrances with them. What they don't mention is what forms in the center of mature plants. Round cones packed with bright seeds that resemble orange or tan nuts. Those nuts are anything but a snack. Inside the seeds and the leaves is a toxin that attacks the liver. Dogs are the usual victims, though cats and even small children can be harmed if they chew and swallow. Early signs are sudden vomiting, weakness, and bloody stool. Behind the scenes, the liver is silently failing. Even with fast care, many dogs don't survive. If you want that green, feathery look, true palms like areca or windmill palm outdoors, or ponytail palm indoors, offer similar charm with far less danger. And if a plant this destructive sits by front doors everywhere, what about the scented one glowing outside your bedroom window? The one you open for on warm summer nights? The hallucination trumpet on the patio? Angel's trumpet. Number 6 is a night-blooming showpiece that can turn one harmless tea into a hallucination and a hospital bed. On a still summer night, you step onto the porch and the scent hits you. Sweet, heavy, drifting from enormous trumpets glowing pale gold in the dark. It feels like something out of a dream, and that's the problem. Angel's trumpet Brugmansia is a favorite patio centerpiece. Flowers longer than your hand, open in the evening, and pour perfume into the yard just as people step outside after dinner. Most people smell romance. They have no idea they're walking past a chemical cocktail. Hidden in every root, leaf, and bloom are tropane alkaloids, the same family of chemicals that can turn wild plants into powerful, unpredictable hallucinogens. Curious teenagers have brewed the flowers as tea, chasing visions and waking up instead, confused, overheated, with pounding hearts and dry mouths in hospital rooms. Children can be harmed just by chewing petals or sucking on the hollow trumpets. The line between a mild poisoning and a medical crisis is razor thin, and one plant can be far more potent than the next. You never know how strong the dose is until it's too late. Moonflower vine, evening scented stock, or hardy jasmine offer night fragrance without that gamble. And if this plant can twist the mind and the heart, the next one is even sneakier. It can start numbing your fingers just from handling the stems. The monk's hood of silent numbness. Monk's hood. Number 7 stands in the border like a row of tiny warriors, and its poison can slip into your body even through broken skin. On a cool morning, the back of the flower bed looks like a line of medieval soldiers. Tall stems, dark green leaves, helmet-shaped blooms in deep purple and blue. It looks like a fairy tale scene, until you know what those soldiers are carrying. Monk's hood, also called wolfsbane or aconitum, is a collector's favorite. It thrives in cool climates and fills narrow spaces with vertical color. From a distance, the blossoms have royal dignity. Up close, they look like hooded figures leaning over the path, as if they're close enough to touch you. Inside the roots, stems, and flowers is aconitine, a toxin that goes straight for your nerves and heart, scrambling the signals that tell muscles when to move. Swallow even a small amount, and you may feel tingling in the mouth, then numbness in the face and fingers, then a heart that flutters and stalls. You don't even have to swallow it. Sap can enter through cuts in your skin. Pets that chew or dig near it face the same risk. For tall blue spikes, salvias and veronicas are safer choices. And if this collector's gem can do all that from a broken stem, imagine what the quiet evergreen hedge around your yard might be hiding. The funeral hedge. Number 8 builds perfect green walls that can stop a heart with very little warning. In winter, when most shrubs are bare sticks, one plant stays dark and green, clipped into walls and mounds around churches, cemeteries, and tidy porches. Snow rests on its flat needles, red berries gleam, and the hedge looks calm and eternal. It's the last place anyone expects real danger. Here's what many homeowners never hear. Almost every part of the plant is highly toxic. The soft red flesh around the seed is less dangerous, but the seed itself and the needles contain compounds that can derail a heartbeat completely. This isn't just theory. Livestock have passed away after eating trimmings tossed over fences. Dogs that chew fallen branches are at risk. People who swallow even a modest amount may feel dizziness and nausea, then sudden, sometimes fatal, rhythm problems. Ironically, these same chemicals are used in life-saving cancer medications. In the wild, you can heal. In a hedge, it can quietly harm. While we go on, tell me in the comments which of these plants you have actually seen in your own yard or neighborhood. The crocus, that isn't. Autumn. Crocus number 9 appears like magic at summer's end and looks just enough like something edible to be truly dangerous. On a gray evening, when most flowers are done, bare soil suddenly lights up with soft lavender cups. No visible leaves, just blossoms pushing straight from the ground. It feels like a gift from nowhere until you learn what's inside. This is autumn crocus, often sold as a fall surprise. The trick? It's not a true crocus at all. It belongs to a different plant family, and its petals and berried corm contain colchicine, a toxin that shuts down cell division and can quietly damage organs. Even its old name, meadow saffron, is a trap because it sounds almost edible. It is not. True crocuses, including saffron crocus, are related to irises and usually bloom in early spring. Autumn crocus is a look-alike that blooms later and sends up leaves months apart from its flowers. In mixed bulb beds with lost labels, it becomes frighteningly easy to forget which is which. One wrong assumption, and free saffron becomes a poison instead of a spice. Hardy mums and asters bring fall color without that confusion. And if this pretty imposter can blur the line between spice and poison, the next shrubs go one step further. They can turn honey itself into a hidden trap. The evergreen that makes mad. Honey, azaleas and rhododendrons. Number 10 covers hillsides in soft color and can turn a spoonful of honey into a dizzying, dangerous experience. In early spring, slopes explode in clouds of pink, red, and white blossoms, a sight that makes you pull over just to stare. It looks harmless from a distance, almost too perfect to question. Azaleas and rhododendrons are nursery darlings in cool, rainy regions. They thrive in acidic soil, stay green most of the year, and bloom just when people are starved for color. But buried in all that beauty is a twist most buyers never hear about. The leaves, flowers, and nectar all contain gray anotoxins, chemicals that scramble how nerves and hearts fire. Around the Black Sea, bees feeding on certain wild rhododendrons produced mad honey. Just a spoonful could leave people dizzy, sweating, with dropping blood pressure and a racing or stumbling pulse. You don't need imported honey to have a problem. A child chewing flowers or a pet gnawing the leaves can wind up vomiting and weak. Service berries, redbuds, and native viburnums can paint spring with color without tricks in the nectar. And if these shrubs can twist honey itself, the next plant is even more unsettling. It can get rid of a cat with nothing more than a dusting of pollen. The bouquet that can. Unalive your cat. True lilies. Number 11 is the bouquet favorite that can destroy a cat's kidneys with a single speck of pollen. On the dining room table, a cat jumps up, brushing its whiskers against the yellow pollen. It looks like harmless curiosity, but that dust on its fur is enough to start a medical emergency. True lilies, lilium, and even daylilies are everywhere. Easter, funerals, Mother's Day, grocery store pots. To most people, they're just flowers. To vets, they're a red flag. To cats, they're a silent trap. Every part is dangerous. Petals, leaves, stems, even pollen that falls on the table or their fur. A few licks while grooming, a nibble on a leaf, or a drink from the vase, water can begin the damage. Early signs are subtle: mild vomiting, a quiet cat that skips dinner. Behind the scenes, the kidneys are starting to shut down, and the clock is ticking. Roses, snapdragons, and gerbera daisies fill a room with color without that risk. And lilies aren't the only houseplants vets worry about. The next one is probably hanging in living rooms right now, close enough for a cat or toddler to reach without you ever noticing. The houseplant that steals your voice, Dieffenbachia. Number 12 is the classic office plant whose sap can make it hard to talk, swallow, or even breathe. A toddler snaps a leaf tip, and a drop of clear sap appears. It looks harmless until that droplet hits skin or a curious mouth. Dieffenbachia, sold as tropic snow or camille, is a low-light superstar, but older generations knew it as dopey cane, a name that came from painful experience. Inside the stems and leaves are needle-shaped calcium oxalate crystals, plus irritating compounds. Bite down, and your tongue and lips feel like they're burning from the inside. The mouth swells, speech becomes slurred or impossible, swallowing hurts, and in small children, the throat can puff enough to make breathing difficult. Sap on skin can burn. In eyes, it causes intense pain. Pets that chew it may drool, cry, and paw at their faces. Parlor palms, cast iron plants, and many ferns offer lush leaves without that reaction. And if the quiet plant in the corner can do this much, imagine what the unstoppable vine hanging above the sofa might do to a curious cat, especially when one careless nibble hits far more than just the mouth. The trailing vine that bites back, pothos and philodendron. Number 13 is the unstoppable trailing vine that sends countless pets to emergency vets for a night of pain and panic. In coffee shops, tiny apartments, and gray offices, long green vines spill from hanging baskets, heart-shaped leaves catching the light. They're so common, they've practically become part of the furniture. Pothos, golden pothos, devil's ivy, and many philodendrons root easily in water, shrug off mist waterings, and tolerate fluorescent gloom. Nurseries recommend them to beginners. Landlords tuck them into empty units. Friends trade cuttings in jars. They're sold as the safest, easiest starter plants. And that's where the surprise comes in. Inside the leaves and stems are the same calcium oxalate crystals that make Dieffenbachia burn. When a cat bites a dangling vine, or a dog chews a fallen piece, the sap can scorch the mouth and throat. Suddenly there's drooling, pawing at the face, crying, and vomiting. It's rarely life-threatening, but it's always terrifying, and often ends in a late-night emergency visit. Spider plants, Swedish ivy, and string of hearts can trail just as gracefully without the drama. And if even the easy plants fight back, what about the ones that don't just hurt one animal, but quietly change whole forests? And even the ticks waiting for you on the trail? The ivy that eats your house, English ivy. Number 14 promises classic charm and fast coverage, but it can quietly eat your house and the woods behind it. A flat of small green plants with pretty veined leaves looks innocent. You picture an old brick cottage wrapped in green. What you don't picture is what's happening underneath that blanket of leaves. English ivy, Hedera helix, is sold as ground cover, basket plant, and wall cover. It climbs by tiny rootlets that grip brick, wood, and stone. At first, it's a neat pattern along mortar lines. As it thickens, it traps moisture, hiding cracks and rot. Under that green skin, bricks can crumble, mortar can soften, and wooden trim quietly decay. On trees, things get worse. Ivy races up trunks, cloaks the canopy, and blocks light from the tree's own leaves. In storms, the extra weight can pull whole trees down. Birds spread the berries into nearby woods, where ivy carpets the ground, smothers wildflowers, and climbs anything still. Sap can irritate skin. Berries are mildly poisonous. Virginia creeper and native honeysuckles bring climbing color without that destruction. And if ivy can literally reshape an entire forest, the final plant on our list goes one step further. It doesn't just change the landscape, it changes how disease moves through your neighborhood. The pretty shrub in the tick thicket? Japanese barberry. Number 15 is sold as a no-care burgundy shrub, but it quietly builds perfect housing for mice and ticks. In new subdivisions, neat rows of maroon shrubs under every window look like they came straight from a catalog. Japanese barberry was brought in as a compact, colorful, deer-resistant ornamental. Nurseries still market it as a problem-free. But here's what the tags don't say. Birds spread the seeds into nearby woods. There, barberry forms dense, spiny thickets that people and many predators avoid. But mice love. And once the mice move in, something else follows. Inside those thorny domes, the air stays warm and damp, a perfect incubator for black-legged ticks. Studies in the northeastern U.S. have found that tick numbers and the share-carrying Lyme disease can be far higher in barberry patches than in surrounding forest. When those thickets creep up to backyard edges, that risk comes home too. Ninebark, chokeberry, and American beautyberry offer rich color without building thorn-walled tick hotels. And now that you know what might be lurking in your soil and pots, the real question is what you'll walk outside and pull first. If this helps you spot even one risky plant, share it with someone who has pets, kids, or a yard, so they can walk through their space with new eyes. Picture your own yard and living room. You don't have to rip everything out tonight, but you can start with the plants most dangerous to whoever you love most. If you want more guides like this, like the video and subscribe, so you don't miss the next time we expose something dangerous hiding in plain sight.